Sold without a name. You do not remember the moment you were sold. Not because it wasn't important, but because your mind learned early how to forget in order to survive. You remember the feeling instead. The weight of a stranger's hand closing around your wrist. Not rough, not kind. Decisive. You remember your mother standing behind you, silent. Her face looked smaller than it used to, as if something inside her had already stepped away. She did not cry. She had cried before. There was nothing left for tears to do. No one explained anything to you. Explanations are a luxury for people who still have choices. You were a child, old enough to understand fear, too young to understand why it had chosen you. Coins changed hands. You heard the sound, metal against metal, clean, final. That sound would stay with you longer than your mother's voice. You tried to turn back. The hand tightened. That was the last time anyone called you by your real name. From that moment on, you were measured, not known. Your skin, your hair, your posture, your silence. Silence was important. The man who took you did not look at your face. Faces create attachments. He looked at your teeth, your hands, your back. He was checking for flaws the way one checks porcelain before buying it. You learned something then without words. Your body no longer belonged to you. The journey was long, not dramatic, just endless. You walked with other girls. None of you spoke. Speaking created bonds. Bonds created pain later. Some cried at night, quietly. Others stared into nothing. One girl whispered prayers until her voice broke and she stopped. No one answered her. When you arrived, the walls were higher than anything you had ever seen. Stone rising into the sky, smooth and indifferent. Gates that did not open quickly. Guards who did not look at you as people. This was not a home. It was a place where lives were stored. Inside, everything was clean. Too clean. Floors that reflected your thin reflection back at you. Halls where footsteps echoed longer than they should. The silence here was not empty. It was controlled. You were washed, scrubbed, not gently. Dirt was removed, but so was familiarity. Your hair was combed until your scalp burned. Your nails were trimmed, your clothes replaced. You were dressed like something precious and treated like something disposable. They told you to stand straight, to lower your eyes, to never speak unless spoken to never look directly at anyone above you. They did not say why. You would learn. At night, you lay on a mat among other girls. You could hear their breathing, fast, uneven, afraid. No one slept deeply. Deep sleep was unsafe here. You listened to footsteps in the corridors and learned to count time by them. You learned which hours were quiet, which hours were dangerous. Days passed, or weeks. Time stopped behaving normally. You were taught how to walk slowly, how to kneel without shaking, how to pour tea without spilling even when your hands trembled. Mistakes were not punished loudly. Loud punishment attracted attention. Here, attention was lethal. You watched girls disappear. Not taken, not announced, simply gone. Their mats remained empty. Their names were never spoken. You learned not to ask where they went. Questions made you visible. One night, an older woman stopped in front of you. She lifted your chin with one finger, forced your face into the light. Her eyes moved over you carefully. "You will be chosen," she said. It was not a compliment. It was a warning. That night, you did not sleep at all. You realized then what had been taken from you was not just your family, or your future, or your freedom. It was certainty. From now on, your life would depend on things you could not control. On moods you could not predict. On whispers you could not hear until it was too late. You were still breathing, but you were already disappearing. And this was only the beginning. The palace does not greet you. It absorbs you. You are moved deeper inside, farther from the gates, farther from anything that resembles the outside world. Corridors multiply. Courtyards repeat themselves. Everything looks deliberate, symmetrical, controlled, as if chaos has been designed out of existence. You learn quickly that this place does not need to threaten you. It simply waits. You are assigned a room, small, clean, bare, nothing that could belong to you, nothing you could miss if it were taken away. The walls are thin enough to hear footsteps, thick enough to keep you isolated. Isolation is intentional. Each morning begins the same way. You rise before light. You kneel. You wait. Someone inspects you, your posture, your face, your silence. They correct you without raising their voice. Raised voices would suggest emotion. Emotion is weakness here. You are taught rules that contradict each other. Be visible, but never noticed. Be beautiful, but never proud. Be obedient, but never foolish. Be silent, but always listening. You realize these rules are not meant to be followed perfectly. They are meant to keep you off balance. Food arrives regularly, but never enough to satisfy. Hunger keeps you sharp, keeps you compliant, keeps you grateful. Gratitude is expected. You learn to eat slowly, to hide desire, to stop your hands from shaking when balls are taken away. You are watched constantly by servants, by guards, by other women who smile at you while memorizing your weaknesses. No one here is neutral. Neutrality is a myth for those who still believe in safety. You begin to notice patterns. Girls who speak too much are removed. Girls who speak too little are removed. Girls who are noticed too often are removed. Girls who are never noticed at all are removed. Survival exists somewhere between extremes, and no one tells you where. At night, you hear whispers through the walls. Names spoken softly, then never again. Rumors of poison, of accusations without evidence, of favors that were misunderstood, of glances that lasted a moment too long. You do not know what is true. You are not supposed to. One afternoon, you are dressed differently, finer fabric, lighter color. Your hair is arranged with care instead of efficiency. The hands that prepare you are steady, professional, empty of sympathy. No one explains why. You are led through corridors you have never seen before. The air feels heavier here, quieter, as if even sound is careful not to travel too far. You're told to kneel. You kneel. You are told to lower your eyes. You do. Time stretches. Your legs ache. Your breath becomes shallow. You focus on stillness because movement would betray fear. You become aware of a presence before you see it. The room changes. The air tightens. Others shift subtly, instinctively. You do not look up. Not because you are obedient, but because looking up would make you real. And being real is dangerous. You are spoken to, briefly, casually, as if you are an object being evaluated. Questions are asked about your health, your background, your temperament. You answer carefully. Too much honesty would be interpreted as arrogance, too little as deceit. You are dismissed just as easily as you were summoned. When you return to your room, you realize something fundamental has changed. You have been seen. From that moment on, nothing feels the same. Every step feels watched. Every whisper feels closer. Other women look at you differently now, some with calculation, some with resentment, some with a politeness that feels rehearsed. You understand then that the palace is not divided into rooms and halls. It is divided into those who are invisible and those who are waiting to fall. That night, you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the controlled silence of a place built to consume lives without ever appearing violent. You are alive. You are chosen. And you are more vulnerable than you have ever been. After you are seen, the palace changes its posture toward you. Nothing is said aloud. Nothing needs to be. Eyes linger longer. Conversations stop when you enter a room. Smiles appear faster, disappear quicker. You begin to understand that attention here is not admiration. It is measurement. You're being weighed. Every movement becomes a decision. Every word becomes a risk. You learn to control your face until it feels like a mask you can no longer remove. Fear must not show. Confidence must not show either. Anything visible can be used. You are given a new routine. More preparation, more instruction, less rest. They correct the way you walk, the way you pour tea, the angle of your head when you bow. Perfection is demanded, but never defined. Mistakes are remembered. You are no longer alone with your thoughts. Even silence feels crowded. Servants pass messages without speaking. Women exchange glances that carry meaning you are not meant to hear. You sense alliances forming and dissolving around you, quietly, efficiently. You begin to understand the true hierarchy. It is not about rank. It is not about favor. It is about proximity. Who is closer today? Who might be closer tomorrow? Who was close yesterday and is now gone? You witness disappearances up close now, not rumors, not whispers. Rooms emptied overnight. Personal objects removed as if they had never existed. When you ask, carefully, gently, you are met with polite confusion. No one lived there, someone says. And you understand. The palace does not erase people. It erases memory. You are warned, indirectly. A servant pauses while fixing your sleeve. Her voice is quiet, almost neutral. Be careful what you hear, she says. Not what you say. What you hear. You nod. Gratitude would be dangerous. You learn to filter information the way others filter water. Slowly, suspiciously. Anything unclear is discarded. Anything too clear is avoided. One evening, another woman speaks to you openly for the first time. She is calm, experienced. Her movements are measured, economical. She has survived long enough to stop pretending survival is temporary. Do not trust kindness, she says. It always wants something. She does not wait for your response. That night, you lie awake replaying every interaction you have had since arriving. Every glance, every pause, every moment where you might have been observed longer than you realized. You understand now why people break here without anyone touching them. The pressure is constant, invisible, perfect. You are summoned again. This time without ceremony, without warning. You are not given time to prepare your thoughts, only your appearance. This is intentional. You are asked questions that do not have correct answers. About loyalty, about gratitude, about what you would do if asked to choose between obedience and morality. You answer carefully, not honestly, not falsely, carefully. The person questioning you listens without reacting. Their face reveals nothing. You leave the room with no idea whether you succeeded or failed. That uncertainty follows you everywhere. You stop sleeping deeply. Your body remains alert even when exhausted. You begin to dream of corridors with no exits, of doors that close silently behind you. You notice how thin you have become, how your hands shake slightly when you are alone, how your reflection looks older than it should. You realize something important. Survival here is not about being chosen. It is about not being selected for removal. And selection is arbitrary. That is the true cruelty of the palace, not violence, not punishment. Unpredictability. You are alive today not because you did something right, but because nothing went wrong yet. You begin to wonder how long yet lasts. Time does not heal you here. It thins you. Days blend into one another until you stop counting them. You measure time by absences now, by who is still here, by who no longer is. Survival becomes a quiet discipline, practiced daily, never mastered. You are careful, too careful to be noticed for mistakes, not careful enough to disappear. You exist in that narrow space where lives linger before they end. You learn to read the palace the way sailors read the sea. Subtle changes in mood, small shifts in routine, a servant reassigned, a corridor closed, a face that no longer looks at you the same way. Danger never announces itself. It prepares. You watch women you once envied lose favor overnight. Their voices lower, their steps shorten, their names are spoken less often, then not at all. One day, their rooms are empty. The palace moves on without acknowledging the loss. You do not grieve them openly. Grief draws attention. Attention kills. You are summoned less frequently now. This is not safety. It is uncertainty. You have not been discarded, but you have not been secured. You exist in suspension, waiting for a decision that may never come. That waiting is the hardest part. Your body remembers fear, even when your face does not show it. Your heart slows at every unexpected sound. Your breath shortens when footsteps stop outside your door. You have learned to listen for silence, because silence often comes before removal. At night, you think of the girl you were before this place. Not her face, that feels unfamiliar now, but her assumptions. That life moved forward. That choices belonged to the person making them. Those assumptions feel naive, almost embarrassing. Here, life does not move forward. It circles. You understand now that survival has cost you something you will never recover, not innocence. That disappeared long ago. What you lost was something quieter. Expectation. You no longer imagine futures. You imagine outcomes, acceptable ones, dangerous ones, final ones. You learn to make yourself small without becoming invisible, to speak without revealing anything, to listen without absorbing hope. You have become very good at not provoking fate. One day, you are asked if you are afraid. The question is casual, almost gentle. You lower your eyes and answer the only safe way. No, it is not a lie. Fear requires energy. What you feel instead is awareness, constant, exhausting, permanent. You are alive, not victorious, not free, not safe. Alive because you have not yet been chosen for disappearance, because you have learned when to breathe and when to remain still, because chance has passed over you more times than it has stopped. You know it could end tomorrow, or tonight, or in the time it takes for a rumor to travel the length of a hallway. You lie down to sleep, knowing sleep will not come easily. It never does. Somewhere in the palace, someone is whispering. Somewhere, a decision is being considered. Somewhere, another life is already ending. You remain where you are, still breathing, still waiting, still alive. For now.